Pleasure to be here, and good night.
Okay, sit down, so you sit down. Very good.
Here we go.
Welcome, everyone.
Yeah, it's the most comfortable chair.
No?
Yeah.
My name is Mike. I've worked with this guy for about 6 years now on the cast of Twin Peaks, and he's never get old. They're a lot of fun. Don't be afraid to ask anything, especially to this guy, because he's been over 250 productions, so plenty of questions. We're going to kick it off, and we'll turn it over to the audience. How many people were here last night? Just to... Okay, all right, well, uh-oh. Well, then if we repeat anything, you never heard it.
Yeah, you never heard it before. Yes, I'm an expert at doing spoilers.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, you are.
First of all, how many, you've all seen the series Twin Peaks?
One guy.
You have not? Oh, you have?
It's like, I have, no one else has.
Okay, so I really can't spoil anything for that, right? I did. Well, you heard this story yesterday. I was in Atlanta, Georgia in 1996 for the Olympics. Well, I was actually doing a series there called Savannah on the old WB network. And one night I went to the Olympic Village, the big tent, to see James Brown and his famous Flames and his band. And Michael Jordan was there that night, and Scottie Pippen, and I got a chance to say hello to them. And this film crew came up to me, and it was from Russia. And apparently the series of Twin Peaks had just started playing in Russia. And so he wanted to ask me some questions, interview me. And the first thing he said to me was, the first thing he asked was, who killed Laura Palmer? And I said, well, I did. And then I thought, oh my God, wait, this is all going in my head in a fraction of a second. Jesus, they just started watching Twin Peaks, and I just gave away the whole story.
This is before the internet, so it's not like...
Yeah, before the internet, and I ruined it for an entire country. And then a second and a half later, I said, or not, thinking I
Nailed it.
I think I may have saved myself on that one. But anyway, yeah, I'm famous for doing spoilers.
And we spoiled nothing else last night. That was the only thing.
Yeah. For those of you in the front row who came here before, and elsewhere in the theater, I'll try to come up with some new material today.
There's plenty of it. Let's start with something new, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's talk about when you were called, or when you first found out when you were called for season 3.
Oh, yeah. Season 3 of Twin Peaks. Yes. I got a call on my home telephone, on the landline, not on my cell. And of course it has an answering machine on it, and I wasn't there to receive the call. So when I played back the call, it was, hello, Ray. This is David Lynch here. How you doing? Pretty good, I hope. We're gonna go back to Twin Peaks. And I heard that, and he said, call the office. And so I called the office, and I spoke with David, and he said, we're gonna go back to Twin Peaks, and of course I want you to be in it. And we'll get back to you later with the details. Okay, fine. And I was expecting some wonderful details. You know, Leland was dead, but you know, that's no problem with David Lynch. You know, I figured, you know, he's going to figure out a great way for me to just be all through that third season.
And Cheryl Lee played 3 parts, so yeah.
Yeah. He let Kyle play 2 parts. And I
3,
thought,
technically.
a great idea would be if I came to town as Leland's twin brother, Leonard. Leonard Palmer. Coming back after all these years to find out the true story behind his brother's death. And I thought, wow, this is great. This is a real whodunit, a real detective story. And it's all going to happen in Twin Peaks, and never dreaming that wasn't going to happen. They were going to be in Las Vegas and in New York, and it's not going to be me. I'm going to have one scene in the Red Room, 1 line, 2 words, and I say them backwards.
Want to do it?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. All right.
We're going to do it for you.
So, just say.
Now, David has this thing about, doing the lines, saying the lines backwards and then playing them forward. Although why we just didn't say them forward, I have no idea.
So the easy trick is say what you want to say, and then play it in reverse, learn it in reverse, and then record yourself saying it in reverse, and then reverse that, and that's the backlash. Now, that being said,
Yeah.
say it forward first. So say, find Laura.
Right. Find Laura.
Now, find Laura backwards is,
Harold now.
one more time.
Harold now.
Okay, so say that. 3, 2, 1.
Harold now.
And now when I play that in reverse.
Find Laura.
Pretty damn cool.
That's all right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Here, let's just do that the rest of the Q&A.
That's a great idea.
Let's say like drink Pepsi.
Drink Pepsi. Speaking
So-
of Pepsi, we were just in Pepsi Cola. No, Pepsi
We were.
Pepsi Cola.
Last
Florida.
weekend,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
With Floridians.
Yeah.
You guys are way cooler. It was a good time. It was a good time. We had Lou Diamond Phillips, Priscilla Presley, Michael Bean. It was pretty neat.
Yeah.
So David said, no Leonard, but Dougie.
Dougie, yeah.
He didn't like the Leonard idea. Let's go with Dougie.
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't thrilled with the whole Las Vegas thing. And anyway,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here
I love that we started off that way.
spouting sour apples. I'm not gonna do it. Although
return's
I,
amazing. Nice.
Although I feel a lot of sour apples. No. Okay.
All right. So tonight I'm going to break it up a bit. I'm going to take a couple questions, then we'll do another question up here, take a couple more questions, so we're all involved. So shoot your hands up and let's get a question. Here you go.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
You've given so many wonderful, spectacular performances. Twin Peaks stands out, but many other things too. I wanted to ask, in relation to Twin Peaks, can you relate a story or two of a time when David Lynch gave you a great direction that helped you to do a certain thing?
Ah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I had to do this. I had to do this scene where I pick up my daughter's graduation photo, and I'm staring at it, starting to grieve, and then I dance around in a circle with it, building an intensity, and my wife comes in and starts screaming at me to stop it, and I don't, and she tries to grab the picture from me, and I smash it into a coffee table. And anyway, that was the scene. So before we shot the scene, David came up to me and he said, "Ray, we're going to play a record here on the Victrola. I want you to start the record player and put the needle halfway down on the record, halfway down on the record. And I did that, and it was kind of a slow, elegiac kind of number, and it sort of put me in a kind of a trance. And then I picked up the needle from the record, shut the Victrola off, and started the scene. And that simple movement of, it wasn't written in the script to play a song before the scene on the Victrola. But that's what David did to get me in the right headspace, and he knew the music that would be on that record. And I can't remember the name of the tune. All I remember is it was a kind of a slow moving dirge sort of thing. And then I did the scene. I smashed the picture. The glass from the picture frame cut my hand right here. I have the scar right here below my thumb here.
Did you get a bump for that?
Huh?
Did you get a bump?
I did not get a bump for that.
He was here last night.
Yes. You're talking about my RoboCop bump. Yeah. I got nothing for this, except I got a hell of a scene out of it because, I bled all over my daughter's picture. And then I took my finger and I started smearing the blood around her face. The most bizarre reaction of why and how I did that, I don't know. Except that the blood and my daughter and my wife screaming all sort of merged, all sort of came together right out of the net of words to catch, but not my words, the script words. And it caught it, and that happened so many times in scenes in Twin Peaks. This, serendipitous nature of it, something happens and David allows it to go, allows you to go with it and explore it fully. He was all for that. And so what we call, like glorious accidents that happen and turn out to be really good for the scene, and later on you look at it and you wonder why you did it and how you did it. And so much of that character of Leland was that way, because I did some very outrageous things, throwing yourself on your daughter's casket at the graveyard and riding it up and down.
And Shelley making fun of you for it?
Yeah.
Awful. It's like one of the worst.
It really turned him off to Shelley, I remember.
Because she's like, it literally, you just saw it happen, and then it comes back from commercial break, she's like, so this is what happened. It's like, this guy was grieving for his dead daughter.
Have a little empathy, a little compassion for Leland.
It's like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Shelley was great, and then that happened.
Shelley, she should be ashamed. But anyway, she's a swell actress, Machen Amick, and so I'm not going to say anything bad about her, but she should be ashamed.
The character should.
The character should.
So was it in the script when you're above the record player, and I could be getting this wrong. I am a fan of Twin Peaks. I just don't watch it every day. But there's you snap the finger.
Oh yeah.
Was that?
Yeah, that was part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was the scene we're just describing, and then like you kind of.
Yeah. I was snapping my finger along with that tune.
Before it started.
Before it started, yeah.
I want to say it was In the Mood, but it wasn't a song that peppy. But I remember it being. Oh, it's Pennsylvania 65000. Steve
Which
Miller.
one? What was it? Transylvania 65000.
Pennsylvania 65000.
Pennsylvania
65000.
Oh, that reminds me. I'm a kind of a Dracula file. I love all things Dracula.
Have you played Dracula?
No, that's always been my dream. I want to do the definitive Dracula. Coppola's was okay. Bela Lugosi.
If there's anybody in this room that has a budget of about $20 million burning a hole in their pocket, let's shoot this Dracula film.
Yeah. I want to do Dracula before I die, and I got a first edition, American edition of Dracula, back when I was 10 years old, and 1897, and then I started reading that book over and over and over again. I must have read it 6 or 7 times at least, and I always wanted to play that character of Dracula and do it the right way. I read the character description when he first comes into the book, and aquiline nose, kind of a Roman nose, sort of. I said, well, I've got that. He's got very penetrating eyes. Said, I got that. And they can make my hair go from gray to dark or dark to gray, and do stuff with the fingernails, I thought, yeah, that would be something that I've always wanted to do, and I regret not having done it by now. And now, of course, they have the ability to take you from old age, which is where I am, and get younger. Yeah, they can do that.
Let's bring back that Raymond Wise and put him in something.
Yeah.
The young.
Oh, yeah.
When did you drop the Mund from your actor name?
When did I what?
The Mund. You started as Raymond Wise in 1968.
Right.
The Devil. When did you drop the Mund and just go as Ray Wise? And was that your decision or your agent's?
No, I think I did that. I just thought it was, easy to remember. Raymond Wise sounded a little too formal, I think. And I thought Ray Wise would be, come trippingly off the tongue, and be easier to remember. And it's held up well. I think you're right, that was the only movie I've ever had that credit of Raymond Wise.
Gotcha. I didn't know if around
So it
that
happened
time-
shortly thereafter. Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah.
Back row, half standing up. Yes.
Yes. First off,
Project.
I know, I'll walk down a little bit. You're totally one of my favorite screen kings, because even outside of Twin Peaks, all the horror movies you've done, fantastic. But I wanted to ask, I love Digging the Marrow.
Tim and Aaron?
Digging up the marrow.
Digging the Marrow with Adam Green.
Yeah.
Do you have any cool stories about working on that movie?
Of,
Digging up the marrow.
oh, Digging Up the Marrow?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, wow. Yeah, Digging Up the Marrow is, the byline for that one was, monsters are real. And I played this character who had lost a son to monsters. And I have to explain the story a little bit. Every year there are those poor, unfortunate children that are born different. They have some sort of malformity, and they're different. And where do they go? These hundreds and even thousands that are born that way. Well, in this film, they have their own society below the surface of the earth. That's where they live. That's where monsters are. And they're not really monsters. They're just poor and fortunate that were born that way. And I play a fellow who has been following the trail of these monsters. They come up in certain places, like in graveyards and lumber yards, any place where they can find an opening up to the surface and come out and walk amongst us for a while, and then go back down. I lost a son. My character lost a son to these underground people, this whole society that lives underground. They have their cities under there. Also, Yeah, I'm getting.
You're scaring the children.
It's getting weird. So yeah. Anyway, you'd have to see the movie, Dig Up the Marrow. I play this guy who's looking for monsters, and we go looking for them, and we find them. And then in the end, no, I'm not going to spoil it.
Damn it, Ray!
I almost did it again.
Spoilers.
Because I'm sorry. No, I didn't spoil anything. It's okay.
It sounds like Adam Green was a fan of Night.
It's Adam Green, yeah. He's the one who did all the Hatchet movies and all.
Yeah.
He's a horror film director mostly.
But it sounds very much like Nightbreed too. That we were explaining. Clive Barker's Nightbreed is the underground,
Oh
monster.
yeah, thanks for.
No, I just said. No, it's not the same movie.
What are you saying? We ripped off Nightbreed?
Strike one for me.
Yeah.
You were here last night. I had 3.
No, it's not at all like
You
that.
didn't rip off Nightbreed.
Huh?
You didn't rip off Nightbreed. You just acted in the movie. How about that?
Yeah.
See, you're fine. You're clear. Yeah.
I would have. Oh yeah. Well, anyway, thank you for your question. I'm sure I didn't really even answer it. But,
She was just wondering if you had a memory from making that movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
made a lot of other movies. Come on.
Well, I mean, you're horror. I mean, God, Swamp Thing. You got Jeepers Creepers 2. You got what's Twin Peaks Fire Wild? What? Dead End.
Dead End. Yeah,
Dead End's
one of my
another good
favorites.
one.
Yeah, made by a couple of French film directors. They got together and they both directed it at the same time. I didn't listen to either one of them. I just did my thing, and with Lynch, who's also made quite a few horror films, and yeah, we shot that 1-2 week period during the night. We started at about 9 o'clock at night and shot till morning, till the sun came up, and that was a pretty wild experience making that film. It all takes place of a family traveling to grandmother's house for Christmas. And they get on this open road that goes through woods, and the road never ends.
It kind of sounds like Over the River and Through the Woods. Did they just rip off that song?
And before I spoil it again, I'm going to stop talking about that movie. Jesus, I almost did it again.
Watch Dead End.
I
It's
almost
good.
told you what happened at the end of the road. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, straight back. In the Slayer shirt.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? Having spent so much time here in North Bend shooting Twin Peaks, even just from my visiting here, I have my own, like my favorite little restaurant or a nice place out in the field. Out of your time here, are there any special places that you like to spend your time, maybe between shooting, or some place to maybe meditate to prepare for your scenes here? Or?
Oh, wow. No, when we got here to begin the pilot, they put us all up in a motel, the Red Lion Inn in Bellingham, Washington. I think or was it Bellevue? No, it's Bellingham. It's not Bellevue. That's a nut house in New York. I think, yeah, it was Bellingham, I believe. And yeah, and right next to the motel was this a pancake house, as I recall. And the first day I was there, I went in to get some breakfast with Richard Beamer, who played Ben Horn. Now, Richard was in that movie West Side Story back in 1960. He played Tony, right? So we're both sitting in the booth, and we ordered our pancakes. And then coming into the door was Dr. Jacoby, Russ Tamblyn. And Russ looked at Richard, and Richard looked at Russ, and they started. Wow, what a moment, They hadn't seen each other in years. But, they still had that West Side Story vibe going. Yeah, and well, anyway, yeah, the Red Lion Inn, we stayed there for the duration. Not a great place.
Are they still in business, Stephen Miller? He would know this. Are they still in business, Red Lion? Never mind.
Does
If they were out of business, then I'll be like, we're in the clear.
Oh, well, I'm not surprised.
Is anyone here staying at the Red Lion right
Steven,
now?
do you remember the Red Lion Inn in,
Is it still there?
It's not, so,
Good.
there's two Red Lions. The one that you stayed at, back when the Firewalk moved so where you go,
Yeah.
that's demolished, because they put in a highway, there, 405.
Oh, yeah.
So that's there. There's a different Red Lion that the crew stayed at for season 3, when they were filming.
Oh, season
I stayed
3.
there, yeah, I
Oh.
stayed there.
Yeah.
But the other one is gone. You can still find, I'm working on it. There'll be an article eventually on Twin Peaks blog.
If anybody wants to know anything about Twin Peaks
He's the
at all,
official historian of
Stephen Miller.
Twin Peaks.
So, yeah, so that's,
Yeah.
Do you have any photos from that?
Do
Probably
I?
not.
from Red Lion?
That's the biggest challenge in some of the early.
I hope we don't have any photos at the Red Lion.
He just asked me if he had photos, like I'm in charge of his archives. But Stephen Miller from Ohio, Ray Wise from Ohio, myself from Ohio. Anybody else from Ohio in here? Yeah.
Hey,
Look at this.
I'm Akron.
I'm Columbus.
He's Columbus.
Stephen's Columbus, Cincinnati. Cincinnati, Cleveland. Look at this.
Cincinnati?
This is great, yeah.
I love Cincinnati chili.
Yes.
Five-way Cincinnati chili.
Is there a Skyline Chili here in Washington?
Skyline, yeah.
We will drive to it if there is.
Okay. Okay.
And Steven Spielberg's from Cincinnati. Just saying. That's what I
So,
know.
anything
question.
else about my career?
Right here. Yeah, right in the middle.
Hi, nice to meet you. An honor.
Nice to meet you.
So, one of my favorite scenes, I know that it wasn't David Lynch's plan to reveal who the killer was, but it was a very powerful and terrifying scene. So I wonder from your perspective, how did you prepare for that scene? It was so powerful.
Which scene?
When you were revealed, saw in the mirror, and then you turned and revealed it.
Oh, Maddie's death, is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maddie's death scene.
Oh, wow, yeah, wow. That was a day. Yeah, that's when I send Maddie all the way back to Missoula, Montana. I smash her face into that picture on the wall. And then I throw her under the couch and then I punch her mercilessly.
You're scaring the children.
Of course, I didn't really punch her. I just punched the couch, but it looked like, she was down there and I'm hitting the couch with my fist and not her. But, she still took quite a beating that whole day because she got killed by 3 different people. By Ben Horn, Richard Beamer, by Bob, Frank Silva, and by me. Because David didn't even want the crew to know who the real killer was.
Even pre-internet, he didn't want secrets going around the set, right? I mean, they had, like someone saying, I was there that day, it was this person.
Yeah, they were there that day and they still didn't know. But she took a beating from 3 different people that day. And then after about 14 hours, I think she pretty much had it. I think they were ready to call in the EMTs to wheel her out. And no, she was a real trooper. She was game that day, and it was a hell of a day, I remember. And so many of our days on that show were hell of a days.
Yeah, Cheryl and I were here in August and talked about that day. And she said it was just like the longest day of the whole series.
Yeah, the whole series and the shoot and the movie, and yeah, it was a rough one.
Next question. Yeah, go over here.
Before we got the return, the TV show Psych gave us Twin Peaks.
Oh, Psych.
Mini reunion.
Dual
Yeah,
Spires.
the two, James Roday, one of the actors on Psych, he was a big Twin Peaks fan, and his dream was to always get some of us on his show, and he got Leland Palmer there first, and I played Father Wesley, and I did an exorcism in that episode, I remember, and we recreated the famous exorcist shot when Max von Sydow gets out of the car in front of the house, and it's sort of backlit, and you just see him in shadow, and very famous photographer. We recreated it faithfully. And then I did the exorcism, and the girl did all sorts of things, and her head swiveled around, and she talked backwards in all sorts of different tongues, and your standard exorcism. And then Father Wesley made an appearance in a later episode, and then I made another appearance as a judge in a trial sequence. And of course, on Psych, you can come back as a different character if you have to. Oh, and the other Father Wesley one was the Dual Spires. He couldn't say Twin Peaks, so he said Dual Spires. That's as close as he could come to it.
That was you, Dana, Cheryl. Who all was in that episode from Twin Peaks?
Sharon Fan was in it.
Cheryl Fan.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
good.
man.
Oh, and what's his name?
Lenny.
Lenny.
Yeah.
Lenny.
Lenny Van Dolen, right?
Yeah, Lenny Van Dolen. Yeah.
God, he was amazing.
Yeah, he's no longer with us. He's so many of our Twin Peaks people aren't with us anymore. In fact, there's one picture of Kyle with David and Miguel Ferrer and David Bowie. And Kyle's the only one still left in that photograph, from that photograph. David just died recently, as you all, I'm sure, are aware of him. And I was at his house about 3.5 weeks ago, almost 4 weeks ago, I suppose, and talked with some of his family, his sister and his brother who looks very much like him, and his son Riley and his daughter Jennifer, and some cast members from Twin Peaks and from Mulholland Drive and from Blue Velvet, Laura Dern, Isabella Rossellini, and we all got together to celebrate David's life, and we did, and we enjoyed some of his favorite treats. He loved Coca-Cola, the Mexican Coke,
In the bottle, yeah.
in the bottle, yeah. It still has the cocaine in it, I think.
Cane sugar. Cane sugar.
No. And chocolate chip cookies and M&Ms. He was crazy for M&Ms. So there were bowls of M&Ms all around the house. And we had a good time, seeing each other again and hugging and crying a little bit and then laughingly tell stories that we had about David. And when I found out, that he died, I felt it more deeply than I thought I would. I didn't realize
You told me if I did this, you'd kick my ass. I was the crier.
I didn't realize that, the depth of feeling that I had for this man. And that once he wasn't there, it didn't seem right.
And that there's a period now at the end of his work.
Yeah.
What exists. And
But he didn't fear death, and he felt, that your spirit, your energy, whatever you want to call it, goes on forever, comes around again, and so David's going to come around again. If anybody can do it, Mr. Lynch will. And I'll miss the hell out of him. There's a hole in my heart. Well, enough of that. Oh,
I'm supposed to bail you out of this right now. I can't. I'm over here just
Why am I doing this?
holding this pad.
Oh, boy.
It's all good.
Yeah.
This is
What
our.
was the funniest line that David ever said to you? For a sense of humor. Did he say something funny in a scene or something memorable that that as a memory?
Oh, over and over and over and over again, yeah. You know, for instance, when I found out that I was the killer. It's okay, right?
They've all seen it. You're okay.
Hey,
We're not.
After all, this ain't Russia. No, sir. Okay. Anyway, when I found out I was the killer, you know, I got called into a room at the studio, and David was sitting cross-legged on the floor with Mark Frost, cross-legged on the floor with Cheryl Lee, cross-legged on the floor, and Richard Beamer, Ben Horn, cross-legged on the floor. And this is the day before I smashed Maddie's face in the wall. Yeah, so I went and I sat cross-legged on the floor, and David reached over, tapped me on the knee, and he said, "Ray, it's you. It was always you." And I thought to myself, oh shit. I don't want it to be me. I don't want to leave town. I'm going to have to go to prison, or I'm going to die, or something bad's going to happen to me, and I can't be here anymore. I'm going to have to leave the show. And he said, well, Ray, it's going to be a beautiful thing. That was his, that's what he always said. It's a beautiful thing. So then he explained to me what a beautiful thing it would be. I would die in Cooper's arms, Agent Cooper's arms, and he would be reciting the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And I would look down a long tunnel, dark tunnel, and at the end of it would be a bright light, and in that light would be my daughter Laura, her arms extended out to me, forgiving me. And he made it sound so good that I bought it right away. You know, it no longer bothered me that I was leaving town. And he made it all better, is what I'm trying to say. And he had a way of doing that. He had a way of making everything all better, and explaining it as much as he could about anything that we had any doubts about. And he had a facility of saying just the right thing at the right time. I don't know how in the hell he did it every single time. And he got us going with the pilot episode, which I think you saw today, right? Yeah. And by the time we were done shooting that pilot, we were in full gear. We were rolling. And then when they decided to go to series and we started churning out the episodes, it didn't matter who the director was. We knew what we were. We knew what we were doing. Because we had all caught on to that David Lynch vibe, you know? And we were confident, and we felt a sense of power. And we knew. That's okay. Oh, he's not contagious, by the way.
I just hated to kill that moment with the cough. I was trying my best to.
Oh yeah, I know. You had an illness about 4 weeks ago.
The flu A.
Yeah, and but the cough has stayed, and he doesn't smoke or do anything terrible to his lungs, and hopefully one day it'll be over.
That's what I was begging in the hotel room. My God, 4 weeks ago, I was like, either be over or be done. Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah. In inopportune times, he comes up with a big cough every now and then, you know.
Like right in the middle of a moment.
Yeah. He's ruined a couple of them, but he's my buddy.
I love this man so much.
And even if he was sick as a dog, I would still be behind him.
You're trying to make me cry is what you're doing. Huh? I see what you're doing. You're trying to make me cry now.
Well, you know how I feel about you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we always have us in our adjoining rooms. We always have adjoining hotel rooms, and I'm like knocking on the adjoining door, and Ray's answering the front door like, Mike, is that you? Like, other door. This door right here.
Yeah,
And we still
puts,
haven't figured out how to use
Yeah,
them.
and then he puts little bags of stuff in between the two doors.
Like water.
Yeah, water, and then I'm supposed to open the door and find the bag.
Yeah.
And
Little love notes, little like hearts, you know, things. From fans, of course.
he's joking, of course. Anyway, does
No,
anybody have another question? Yeah.
I was,
Yes, sir.
Was it difficult between Twin Peaks and Firewalk? Your characters kind of very separate from each other, and more corrupt than Firewalk.
Oh, yeah. That was very strange. Yeah, the prequel to the series, Fire Walk with Me, which sort of explained everything that went on in the series that happened later, which I wasn't aware of when I did the series. Yeah, interesting, huh? Had I known, would I have done things differently? I don't know. I don't know because you know there's some value in not knowing what's going to happen next week, you know? Just as in life you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? And I think for an actor that can come in handy when you don't know, so you don't have any preconceived notions of how you should play a scene or how you should react to what the other actors are saying to you at that moment. So you don't pre-plan and plot out everything like most, well, I'm not going to get into that.
well, nowadays we live in the prequel society. It's like there's 1,000 prequels coming out every week. And
Yes.
most of them I don't want to know the origins. That's the magic of it.
Well, I wasn't talking about prequels really. I was talking about an actor's process.
Oh, right. Right. I'm sorry, I just jumped this
No,
one.
that's all right. That's all right. You can jump the gun, but know that you made a mistake doing it. I give it a study, but we actually get along quite well.
When we're not on stage.
Yeah, when we're not on stage. Yes.
You had mentioned Lynch.
Did I answer your question? I'm not sure. Yeah, it was very different. It was very different, and when I did the series, I was always Leland, for the most part. And even when I was Bob, I still kept it in my head that I was Leland. Then when I did Fire Walk with Me, I was a lot of Bob as well as a lot of Leland. So I had to get used to the idea of being a little bit more Bob and being able to flip that switch just like that and go from one to the other and then go back.
You're so good at that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was it was a very intense experience, very problematic at times, and I certainly didn't want it to look preconceived or plotted or planned. I wanted it to seem fresh and well, it's called, for want of a better term, method acting, that kind of thing. What Mr. Brando used to do so well. I would have liked to have seen Brando's take of Leland Palmer.
Oh, man.
Would have been vastly different than mine, I'm sure.
And it wouldn't have been as good.
Thank you. Wow.
That's my replacement out there.
Oh, yeah. I want to see you after this. Thank you very much.
Brando would have done his own script.
What would he have done?
Oh, yeah, do Brando doing Leland. This bug off my hand.
He used to do stuff like that all the time. He would have picked everything apart. He would have made a big deal out of just about everything, and that wasn't my approach. I wanted it to be softer than that until it wasn't. And I was when I was doing both, the series and the movie, I was still always Leland in my mind as I was doing it. But then I would deign to do Bob. And, but isn't that funny? I always felt like Leland. And the whole idea of what the significance of Firewalker and me, of course, was someone who's molesting their own child. The entire time I was doing that movie, that never entered my mind. The thought of that was anathema to me. So it never entered my mind. And only those moments when Leland appeared did it happen. You know, that one particular moment when Bob is on top of my daughter in bed, and then all of a sudden she sees my face. It was so hard for me to do that scene. That was the last thing I wanted to do, was to get up on top of Cheryl Lee and look in her face. So I guess I just blocked that whole thing out. The whole idea of molesting my daughter and then killing her. I remember when I found out it was going to be me, I thought, I don't think I can do this. And for about a day and a half, I actually felt like quitting the show. Then I thought better of it later, because they'll sue the hell out of me. Right after I thought I found out it was that I was the killer. The reveal scene, just before the reveal scene was done, and I guess I was thinking about, before I actually found out for sure, I had this feeling that it might be me, but I also thought it could be Ben Horn, Richard Beamer. I was even hoping it would maybe be Sheriff Truman. I thought that'd be a kind of a cute twist. Anybody but me. I did not want it to be me. I had a little 2-year-old daughter at the time, myself. So the whole idea of this daughter thing just didn't sit with me. And so these are things sometimes an actor runs into when a character that he's playing does something awful and reprehensible and terrible, and you still have to do it. Because that's your job, you're an interpretive artist and you're interpreting someone else's writing and someone else's character. And, anyway.
You were,
That's what Leland did.
Exactly, yeah.
Maybe that's why your performance was.
Yeah, you're right. The coinciding of me and the character of Leland was kind of a perfect meld. For better or worse, it came out just right. And I've not, I've played very few characters in my career that have had that perfect meld like that. And so it was certainly a high point for me, and I owe David a lot. He saw it. He coaxed it out of me right at the beginning, and I owe him a lot.
well, it's crazy how ahead of everyone, David had a very crystal clear vision, because I know we talked about the pilot last night where there's that scene where they're in the bedroom and they grab her diary and you just say, do you have to take that?
Yeah.
And I knew, I'm like, watching that, knowing you're the killer, way back in the pilot, I'm like, oh, holy shit, that's right there. It's so telling.
Very telling.
So he knew.
Yeah, the show was loaded with little clues like that. Everything was very well, from a writing standpoint, very well thought out, and structured, and there were several different layers to almost every line that was said. And you can make whatever you want of it. And that's what David felt too. He said, we're doing it for you, we're doing it right now, but then we send it out into the world and you make of it what you will, however you perceive it. And whatever you think it is, that's what it is.
So stop trying to figure it out on the internet.
Yeah.
But, you mentioned that Lynch's characters and his world has a certain, like, once you guys got the groove of it, it didn't matter who directed, you already knew, like, Lynch's world and how to
Right,
say it.
yeah.
Now, I noticed, like, it's amazing to me how no matter what actor it is, when they come through the world of Lynch, like, everyone just acts a certain way. Almost like we're not human. This is another world we're watching. And what's crazy about this is, like, even in the Straight story, the woman who hits the deer, it's such a Lynch moment in that G-rated Disney film, and he still keeps it. For me, it's one of the best films. But that scene with the woman and the deer, it's such a Lynch
In the
moment.
Straight story.
Yeah, the Straight story. She hits the deer. Richard Farnsworth is riding the tractor, and he sees it happen. And he goes over to her, and she goes on this rant about every single day she hits a deer.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know why that just keeps happening. And she's like, and I love deer. So, but it's such a, like, it's her only scene, and it's just such an absurd, but she is a Lynch.
Yeah, how about that guy? He went from Eraserhead to Elephant Man. How about that?
Yeah. Elephant Man, Oscar, Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
My God. And then I was going to ask, like, do you mind if I tell a David story? Like,
Yeah,
a
please,
personal
go ahead,
experience?
yeah.
I know you're the guest. I don't want to, like, but when I met David after I got the job working with these guys, it was in LA, and I was supposed to be there at Transcendental Meditation Benefit that Bob Roth was having with Russell Brand and David Lynch, hosted by Jane Lynch. And what it was basically a fundraiser to bring Transcendental Meditation to elementary school kids with the thought that if they learn it that young, we can eliminate crime. Their mind will be, there.
Absolutely.
It was
yeah.
amazing. And I sat down next to this woman, and we talked for the whole time. We were about 6 rows from the stage. And when Lynch came out, walking from the parking lot when I got there, I saw smoke coming up above the back fence patio, which was in the backstage area, and I just heard him tell a joke. I wish I remembered the joke, but he said it in Lynch's voice, and I just saw the smoke of his cigarette. And I never got starstruck around you guys, but at that moment I was like, holy shit, he's right there. I mean, it was this moment of, okay, I gotta go to the building now. And I sat down 6 rows from the stage next to this woman that we were all in our section, and she struck up a conversation with me. She's amazing, and it was David's sister.
Oh, right,
And
yeah.
so I was sitting with her the whole time, and at the end of the show, based on my conversation with her, she's like, you want to meet him? And I told her what I was doing with you guys, and so we went up there, and he saw these cough drop wrappers laying on the ground, and they were shiny, and I managed to get in that I was, doing shows with you guys around the country and everything, and he just patted me on the shoulder. He said, good deal. My best to them. He wanted you guys to do this. Like, this is amazing. But then he's like, hold on, everybody stand back. And he's looking down at these wrappers, and to him they looked like butterflies. And he said, does anyone have any lozenges? Anybody? I'm just calling for cough drops from whoever was standing around. And so everybody gave him, shit, I got a cough drop. And he's 70-some years old, down on his hands and knees, unwrapping these things, throwing the cough drop to the side, and putting the wrappers and arranging them like butterflies. He took out his iPhone, he takes a picture, and he's like,
That's David.
I'm going to make a poster of that.
Yeah. He
And
made
I'm just
mosaics,
like,
he made paintings, he made drawings, he made cartoons, the angriest dog in the world. He wrote pieces of music, great music, and of course he directed films and even music videos. He had his hands in everything creative.
but he didn't disappoint. I mean, who I would
He
expect
woke
him to
up,
be.
he woke up every morning waiting to do something creative. His mind was full of it. It was full of ideas, and all he wanted to do was visualize them and make them real. And some of them were wild stuff. Amazing stuff.
Well, and I don't know if when you're driving, sometimes they say for artists, like, I mean, I write songs when I'm driving. Most of the songs I write are from driving. I don't know if, like, they say in the car, you just, something about it, like, shit'll just fly in and out of your head. And I think about David in that moment of just that catching his eye. And I'm like, it must have been so magical to be him, to walk out into the world and just, I am dreaming this at this moment and I have to grab this or it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, and I love, because at that moment, I was like, I completely understood every piece of art he's made.
Yeah.
Because it's what is flying through the air at that moment, and it's, as he said, catching an idea.
Yeah.
And, it's amazing. He's just like, almost like a child, like, without insulting them, it was very much a freedom of a child's imagination.
Absolutely.
And
Unfettered.
yeah.
Limitless imagination. Yeah. And he placed no restrictions on himself. None. And he wouldn't let anybody else put any restrictions on him either. How he dealt with the ABC network. It's unheard of that he and Mark Frost had carte blanche to do Twin Peaks, the series, on ABC. Capital Cities was running the network at that time, very conservative organization. And they didn't quite understand Mr. Lynch and Mr. Frost. But they had no choice, because if they wanted their material on the air, they had to go along with what they were going to do and say. And they did, to a great degree, until the network kept bugging David and Mark to find the killer. Come up with a damn killer. Come on, the public has a short attention span. They can't take this much longer. Well, David never wanted to find the killer. He wanted it to go on and on and on. He wanted everybody to think that it was everybody else in town. Would have been magnificent.
Would your life be the same if you weren't the killer?
That's a good question. He didn't raise his hand. He's
That's
like,
a
"Hey,
very
check
good
this out."
point. And I certainly agree with your point. Yeah.
It's a great question.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Stephen Miller, you pointed to something, I think someone in the back row.
Jeff Moore, back here.
Oh, awesome. Yes.
Yeah,
Ray, you and I worked on a series together.
we did?
Yeah, it was a small series, but it actually turned into a big series. It was called Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
I was your prop master in season 2.
Come, can you come up here?
Yeah, please. Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, how are you? Good to see you again, Ray. It's been 30 years.
Let me see you.
Yeah, I know we look different. We are a lot older than we were then.
Yeah.
And, you were talking about...
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
No, you don't recognize me. We were there every day together. I was long-haired.
Oh, that's it.
I
Different
was
glasses.
30 years younger.
Were you bald now or what? I know this man. God damn.
I know.
Wow.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about what you talked about earlier in the Red Room when you had to learn everything backwards.
Yeah.
And I saw the iPhone. But what people don't know is that night we shot that, it was an all-nighter, another one of the long nights. And you guys were in there learning how to speak backwards from Michael, remember?
Yeah, Michael, the small person. Yeah, he was an expert at speaking backwards. I don't know how he became that, but that's what he was.
That night, you guys were learning a new language. You guys were getting stuff put in your eyes. You remember you giving the eyeball.
Yeah, yeah.
David was directing from the hip. He had an idea what he wanted. I mean, he told me, by the way, he told me before he told you who the killer was.
You did before I did.
I had to know because there was a prop involved. Remember golf bag?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Well, he made me.
Of course. I stuffed her body in the golf bag.
I'll tell you a little story about that, because he took me up to his office, he sat me down, and he goes, Jeff, can you keep a secret? And I said, of course I can keep a secret. I'm on Twin Peaks, for God's sake. You know? And he goes, and we had done the little chipping of the golf stuff, you know, remember the golf balls into the chip?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
all that stuff.
yeah,
You
yeah.
actually have a good swing, first of all.
I did at that time, right? Yeah. I was blasting them. Yeah.
The golfer I'm going to be kind of sweet. Anyway, he brings me up in his office, and he says, I need you to find me a golf bag that I can put a human in. Literally, those are his.
Wow.
Did he tell you this was show related?
He said, and this is what he did.
Yeah.
I went out and found the golf bag.
Yeah.
And he literally had a human get into that bag. Because, I can't remember who was upstairs, you know.
Was it a girl or a guy?
Yeah, it was a girl.
It was a girl, of course.
And the girl, you know, they
Yeah.
did everything, and this was as close to method as I did it.
Oh, yeah.
And he would not accept any of my prop unless that person could get
In
into
that bag. Yeah.
And,
And then she was put in the bag, and then we put the bag in the trunk of my car.
yeah.
And then Cooper stopped my car, and Cooper and the sheriff stopped my car. And I got into the trunk, and I got out my golf club, and I wanted to hit Cooper.
That day we were out there on that road, remember?
You know, that was my thing. I'm the one that did
The golf club.
the
Oh, so then you pulled that, okay.
yeah.
Are you sure it just wasn't because it was Kyle and you?
That was my thing. My contribution to the scene. I wanted to follow through. I wanted to let Cooper have
It
it.
was really, you did that scene extremely well, because if that was all you doing that, which I know it was, with the club and the attention that you put there.
Yeah.
It's not written in words.
Right.
You know, it comes from you, you know, and we all felt it on the other side of the screen, watching you do that. But I just had to say something to you, because it's been 30
You
years.
son of a gun.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, they've been showing on the screen the match scene. Remember when we were flipping
Yeah,
matches?
flipping matches, yeah.
And so he goes, and he's got flip matches in. And so I had to, you know, get one to land in the ashtray. So once we cut from you, because we see you should flick it,
Flip it,
and then it lands.
lands in the ashtray.
First time I did it, I was off camera, that was
Yeah.
you. And I flipped the match and it hit, and it stayed. He wanted it to stay. It was Leslie Glatter, I think.
Yeah, Leslie Glatter was directing that, yeah.
And, God, we got it in one. You know, it was great. And we were moving on. That was the end of the whole scene.
Yeah.
And,
Did you make up that poster of Bob?
no, that was
poster?
all art department.
All
Thank
art.
God, they took a lot off my shoulder.
Yeah.
Drawings and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I turned around and the cameraman, our focus puller, Billy Brow was his name.
Yeah.
Billy turns to me and Jeff, I didn't get it. He said it was soft.
It was,
It was soft.
he was soft.
Yeah.
You were soft.
So we tried and tried and tried and tried and tried to get it to go again. It went in one, I think it was 15 before we finally got it.
15 matches.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, I probably went to lunch while you were doing it.
We were moving on, essentially.
Yeah.
Did you have to
Oh, hey.
wrangle?
It was really a pleasure to see you again. Thank you.
Did you have?
What a nice surprise.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Did you have to wrangle all the tape that Harry Goes ended up putting all over his face when he was trying to hang that sign?
I was on a prop run that time, and my team did that whole part, so I will not take credit for that. But I did walk in at in the middle of it, and I saw it all happen. Dave was directing that. And I just went, wow. You know, it was a surprise to me, because I was told it was going to be a messy tape scene. That's all I knew.
It's such a Harry Gross moment.
Yeah, and, you know, as the master on that, and Ray knows, what props does. A lot of people don't quite understand what we did. And it's like an invisible.
Oh, yeah, you did plenty, you did plenty. Yeah, wow.
Well, I get to tell these guys this all the time, but I've never met you before. Thank you for your work in creating and being a team member.
We saw our
of this
35-year reunion right here live on our stage.
Well, we kind of have to end this now, because that was a pretty awesome moment right there. I think we've been going, how long have we been going, Beth? Are we good?
If Mr. Wise is done, then we're done with.
Mr. Wise, would you like more questions, or are you?
Yeah, I'm still ready for a few more.
Engine's still running. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask you a question about one of your current roles?
What are my current roles?
The young.
Yes. Well, I just finished a 4 or 5 month run as Ian Ward on Young and The Restless. Yeah. I've gone full circle. I started out in the business in 1970. Well, I made my first movie in 1968, but I started really solidly in the business in 1970 on a show called Love of Life, a soap opera on CBS. And now, the last 5 months, I'm back at CBS on Young and Restless. So it always comes around, you know, and it bites you right in the behind. And I had a great time. I'm the bad guy. I was the bad guy in town. Ian, you know, he gives everybody trouble. And he kidnaps people and he shoots them and stuff like that.
So here's the spoiler. Last Friday, did you kidnap Sharon again?
Wait, is it still, I thought.
Last Friday?
I thought
No,
it already aired.
I'm not going to give away anything on that.
Wait. So the story you told last night, has that aired yet, Ray?
No, you know, yeah, you have to sign these non-disclosure agreements, you know, and you'll get your rear end sued off, you know, if you start giving away secrets.
Last time we saw you.
Yeah, she got it. The ambulance, that's already aired, right?
Oh yeah, that aired, yeah. Yeah, I'm still alive, yeah. I had this shootout with Victor Newman. He, you know, Eric Braden, he's like the lead character on the show. He's been on it for 45 years. Can you imagine that? Doing one show for 45 years? That drives me nuts. Anyway, he's handling it really well. Except he just lost his house in the fire in the Pacific Palisades. I'm talking to him on the phone. I'm giving him my condolences, whatever you give when you lose. What do you say to somebody when their house is burned down? And he said, I barely got my stuff in my car, some of the stuff, some important papers and stuff like that in my car, and the fire just swept through my neighborhood. 65 years going up in smoke, you know. And then the Eaton fire was coming close to my house, about 1.5 miles away. It got 1.5 miles close. And then suddenly the wind changed and the fire turned and went in the other direction, which was, you know, godsend, you know. It was like, I had my car parked too. I saved my Emmy Award.
Which wouldn't have burned up in the fire.
Yeah, I would have lived through the fire, Miami, but I
have one of those.
didn't want to take that chance. And but then I thought, you know, as long as I get my family out and my dog and my cat, that's all that matters to me. Let it all go. You know, we spend our entire lives collecting stuff. We have a house full of stuff, and a garage full of stuff, and an attic full of stuff, and just stuff. We're stuffed to death. And you know, the older you get, the more you want to shed that stuff, because you feel the weight of it, and what the hell am I going to do with it? And And so the whole idea of the fire coming through and taking it all away did not bother me that much. Didn't, just as long as everybody was safe, and my dog, my blue-nosed American Pit Bull rescue dog, Rosie, who's the love of my life. As long as Rosie and my cat Kissy, and my wife, of course, yeah. I like her okay. Not like Rosie though.
Don't worry, I'm not rolling video for it.
Okay. Thank goodness. Yeah, that was a frightening couple of days, and you would not believe the devastation. Malibu, beach, right on the beach.
Dukes, right there.
These, these $10 million homes, gone. They never dreamed when they bought a house on the beach in Malibu that they would get wiped out by a fire. It was like the end of the world. It was like a conflagration beyond anything you
And now there's like a little Ray Wise being born somewhere. She cloned you.
Oh, come on.
I went over because I was on Facebook Live living the event, and I was like, I'm not gonna do anything with the cup, I swear. So I took the cup on live and I brought it over to staff that like left the building with you, and I was like, a responsible adult needs to dispose of this.
Wow, thank you for your question. I think there was a question in there somewhere, but I don't know exactly what it was.
This is why I want to talk to you about your good-looking face. It's proof now that you have stalkers, obviously, that want to get your bourbon drink and lick the inside of the glass.
It's not bourbon. I told you this before. It's Irish whiskey.
It is. It's Applebee's.
Yes, it's Irish whiskey.
But yeah, no. So we heard
And
Leland
I only like to have a little nip in the evening, and it was evening time last night.
as it is every night.
Yeah.
But we found out Leland karaoke was happening, and I was like, it's called Leland karaoke, and we were here, and I'm like, if you show up there, you're gonna blow their mind.
Yeah, Leland's karaoke was last night.
And we walked in, and the guy was singing Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back. And he was just like, Baby Got Back. Oh shit, right away.
Right after him, and my fiance was like, if he had walked in one song later to you singing Questions in a World of Blue, and I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So okay, so you sang right after Ray, right? So you had the mic.
Yeah.
Did that same woman trying to grab that glass and lick it try to get the mic from you? Good. There is sanity in this world.
Yeah.
No, I took him out of there like he was Elvis as soon as the song was done.
Yeah, so I pulled out my trusty Mersey Dotes and Dozy Dotes. And
Oh, actually, a lot of these people were not there last night. And could you sing it for us?
I couldn't
Come on.
possibly do that. No. Mersey Dotes and Dozy Dotes, a little lambsy divey, a kiddly divey too, wouldn't you? Oh, Mersey Dotes and Dozy Dotes, a little lambsy divey, a kiddly divey too, wouldn't you? Although the words sound queer and funny to your ear, a little bit jumpy and jivey, say mares eat oats and does eat oats, and little lambs eat ivy. Key change. Oh, mares eat oats and does eat oats, and little lambs eat ivy, a kiddly divey too, wouldn't you? A kiddly divey too, wouldn't you?